joining me as we continue our playthrough of Ultimate General Civil War. We are now moving on to our first grand battle, the first Battle of Bull Run, or the first Battle of Manassas, depending on which side of the Mason-Dixon you hail from. We built up our army in the last episode, so now we are ready to move on to the battle itself. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move in. Some things of note, some things I haven't mentioned yet, is the intelligence surface up here. You saw the correspondence as I went to the main map menu. This just gives you a few like little neat messages back and forth. It really doesn't give you too much information. But you also get to see the army size, the training quality of the army you're facing, and then the army status of the army you're facing. These numbers, as you do your move up your reconnaissance skill, do actually get more accurate. But again, I've played the game so many times, I don't really need to know the accuracy of the intelligence, just because I know what to expect. So let's go ahead. We're going to start the Battle of First Bull Run. So, the Battle of Bull Run, 21st of July, 1861, several miles east, the Confederate Army of PGT Beauregard has deployed along the Bull Run River to guard the Manassas Railroad Junction. From the other side of the river, Brigadier General Irving McDowell is leading the Union Army, and is looking for a weak point to attack. The Confederate Army is stretched out to defend all possible river passages. You are in command of the left flank, which is likely to become the main target of the Union Army. The utmost side of your defensive line ends at a stone bridge. The Federals may assault this point head-on or maneuver from a western ford. If the Union Army attempts to attack your position, you will receive reinforcements from Beauregard and Joseph E. Johnson, Army of the Shenandoah, who are soon to arrive by train. So we're going to go ahead and put our first corps in to defend the bridge, and as you can see we have so we have basically 17,000 soldiers, 27 guns at our disposal. So let's go ahead and start the battle. Our main forces are deployed a few miles east of this location, guarding the Manassas Railroad Junction. Bull Run River is the natural barrier between our lines and the Union Army on the other side. To protect the left flank of the army, we need to guard all the fords. Our forces are stretched thin along Bull Run River. We do not have sufficient regiments to guard this passage, but you need to be alert for enemy movement. McDowell may attempt to cross with a portion of his army from here. This small hill near Matthews Farm is a good position to create a defensive line in case the enemy threatens our left flank. Henry Hill is another strong position for artillery, and it must be secured. Your orders are to defend your position and scout for enemy movements. If the Federals attack you, reinforcements will be dispatched from the southeast. General, our forces have been spotted on the other side of the river, and will certainly try to cross it from this section. Take position on that hill to stop any attempt of the enemy to cross the stone bridge. Pay attention to this ford, which is also a possible passage for the Union Army. We do not have enough forces to guard the passages westwards of your current position. You should still scout the area as Federals may attack from this side. Sorry about my dog. Matthews Hill must be defended, and the Yankees attempt to breach our left flank. Should the Yankees attempt to breach our left flank. Delay the Yankees until you receive more reinforcements. Good luck, General. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and deploy our troops. So I'm going to move Siegfried up here because he's actually going to guard this ford. And then Manson and Kemper will just sort of hang out at the stone bridge. Manson will take up positions at the defensive line there, sorry. Alright, and then we're just going to start the battle. We're going to pause immediately, and I am going to pause for a second and see what my dog is barking about, so I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Back to the game. We're going to move Siegfried, as I said, up into this position here to guard that ford. We are going to break off skirmishers and have the skirmishers take up positions to defend over here, just to delay the enemy. We're going to do the same with Kemper, as well as Manson. I have all of them take up position. Manson I'm going to sort of string out here and defend over here. Just because I know that's where the enemy is going to be coming from, it would just give me a little extra time to move B and Bartow's forces up as they arrive, because that is who is going to arrive to defend Matthews Hill. So let's go ahead and just fast forward this, because this portion of the battle could take some time. It is kind of boring, because the Union, although they do launch attacks across the bridge, which is not exactly what the Union did in real life, they actually just sort of made it seem like they were going to launch attacks. They actually brought a 30-pound Parrott rifle, which is technically a coastal defense gun, up. I believe it was called Long Tom, and they used that against the Confederate positions here on the bridge. Obviously, that's not represented in the game, because there is no 30-pound Parrott rifle in the game, but that is sort of representative by the artillery that they have here. Again, it was just sort of a hold them in position as the rest of the army sort of flanked west, or flanked west along the Confederates' left flank. Now they were alerted because there was clouds of dust actually raising from the army as they marched west. So Shanks Evans, who was actually in charge of this position, actually moved most of his forces off of this position, only leaving a small skirmish unit, which, had the Union realized it was such a weak point, they could have easily crossed the stone bridge and cut off and taken Henry Hill early in the battle. But they did not have those orders, so they never did. They just held their position on this side of the ford, or this side of the bridge, not a ford. And at that point, by the time they actually began to move across the stone bridge, it was already too late. Confederates had pretty much hunkered down on Henry Hill. In fact, at that point, they even started launching their own assaults back to try and take back the stone bridge. So we are going to go ahead and move these forces up. We are going to attack skirmishers from them. The longer I can delay, the more casualties I can cause before they even get to the hill, the better. That's the way I see it, at least. We're going to go ahead and put Pelham and Embden up onto this ridge here. Once they get to the field, Bartow should be arriving any moment as well. Embden is now here on the field, so we'll move him up into the ridge. As you can see, we do have some scouts at least attempting to cross the ford here. I don't know if they noticed Siegfried there in the woods or not. Like I said, these guys are just to delay. I don't want to keep them out here for too long, because I don't want them to take unnecessary casualties. It's really just a point to... Oh, that'd be interesting if we could take down McDowell, but we didn't. Would have been interesting to see if we could leave them leaderless. Alright, so Bartow I'm going to go ahead and put in the farmhouse. I'm not going to put him in the fortifications. I always find that he doesn't do too well in the fortifications there, so I'm not actually going to put him in there. Bartow I'm going to have up on the left flank of this hill. Now in the actual battle, the Confederacy actually never took the bridge of the hill. They actually set up their positions on the incline of the hill, at the base and on the incline of the hill, and then sort of fired upwards to the Union positions on the hill itself. But that would be silly to do it in this game, because that would leave me in a very bad position, and I want to do as many casualties to the Union as I can. Now, B and Bartow were actually late arriving. By the time they actually arrived onto the field and started launching assaults on Matthews Hill, it was actually already defended for some time by, like I said earlier, Shanks Evans, who had moved his forces up. One of those commanders there was actually a man named Roberto Wheat, who was a soldier of fortune, who then commanded a unit of Zouaves known as Wheat's Tigers. Because they wore tiger striped pants, so they became known as Wheat's Tigers. and he fought here at Matthews Hill and was actually shot through the lungs, both lungs. And when he was told about his predicament, he asked what his chances of surviving were, and I believe the doctor said something along the lines of, no one has ever, there's been no record of anybody surviving these type of injuries before, and he essentially said, well, put me on record that I'm going to. So he did not believe this was the end for him, that he believed he was going to survive his wounds, and he actually did. He survived his wounds, just to die, I believe, about a year later during the battles of Gaines Mills. At least it was one of the 7-day battles. I can't remember if it was Gaines Mill. I want to say it was Gaines Mill, but it could have also been, it may have also been Malvern Hill. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, but I do know it was one of the battles, the 7 days battles. Alright, so we do have Hampton's Legion on the field. We are going to have him defend the right flank of the hill. We're going to leave him full strength, seeing as he's the smallest of the 3 units. The supplies, I'm probably just going to leave at this farmhouse down here for now. Just because I don't want them, I see that cavalry moving around out there, and I'm actually slightly worried about that. So I don't want his cavalry just up and taking my supplies. I am actually beginning to worry about him being in my flank. I might start reeling in. I'm definitely going to bring in Manson skirmishers. Get him out of there. Kemper. Let's go ahead and move back all of my army skirmishers. Get them back into this location. And just use B's skirmishers as well as Bartow's to sort of delay the enemy as much as they can. Alright, so now we have Keys coming down, which means Sherman's forces are beginning to arrive. Which means holding Stonebridge is going to become a little bit more difficult, but not entirely impossible. I mean, it's probably not going to break. Just only because they can only send a few units over at a time. It's unfortunate that they didn't just stop just shy and they didn't actually get to my line, because then Kemper could have fired shots into him. So he actually has only been taking casualties, which is unfortunate because he really can't do anything but that. So until some of these units actually start making melee combat with Manson up here, Kemper actually cannot fire. Sort of unrealistic, you would think, especially seeing as Kemper is obviously above Manson on this hill. Manson's on the downward slope of the hill. You would think to see Kemper now unloading now that they are in melee contact. You would think Kemper would have been able to fire over the hills, but that's just not how the game mechanics work, unfortunately. Siegfried, I want to maybe bring up Manson. It might be time to bring Siegfried up. Let's go ahead and run Hampton, because they are starting to push finally. It might be time to bring these 3 this way. We did force them back, so we'll have Kemper take up positions now. These skirmishers are doing their job. That's all I needed them to do was delay them. We do actually have skirmishers on our rear. That's not sure where they came from. They must have came from this way and just piled through. They did take out one of my guns, or almost took it. Oh, they just took out one of my guns. That's unfortunate. Go ahead and run these guys. Should have had my skirmishers moved earlier. I did not notice that unit come through. So I did lose one of my guns, it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and just have Fidel set up on this side of the river, seeing as he's over there anyway. And Manson take up positions behind. Those skirmishers should be able to knock out their skirmishers relatively easily. Let's see how we're doing over here. Let's move Bartow a little bit closer to the farmhouse there. They're in relatively good shape. Let's go ahead and reattach Bartow's skirmishers, seeing as they got pushed back anyway. Alright, so my skirmishers did take out their skirmisher unit. We gotta put Siegfried's skirmishers up in these woods just so I don't get flanked again. I'm not sure where that cavalry unit went, but I know there was one running around, so... Ooh, Hampton got charged. But Hampton, with the support of B, was able to push him back, but now he's charging along with them, and it's not a good idea. Hampton was an interesting character. He was actually, I want to say he was a plantation owner. Can't exactly remember what he did, but he was rich, essentially. I want to say he was a plantation owner, who actually supplied his troops with like the highest quality supplies he could. He was actually one of the most well-supplied units at the Battle of Bull Run on either side. I believe he had his men equipped with British Enfield rifles. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate into the game. They just have him with 1842s. It would be interesting had they put him with Enfield rifles, which would have been more historically accurate. But that's not the case. Alright, we're going to go ahead and reattach these guys because I feel like we're going to be moving on here shortly. I mean, obviously you can see the timer. Once that timer hits 0, that is when we are technically going to be in retreat. We do have some more skirmishers coming up. Siegfried should be able to probably wipe them in one volley. He does have better Mississippi rifles, so we'll see what happens. Maybe not an entire volley, but he's definitely dishing it out better than he's taking it. Hampton's up there holding like a boss, although I should probably retreat him. Maybe let him... Oh, he's not going to get off the volley. Let's go ahead and get him out of there. Let's move Beauregard over to this side. Hopefully Hampton doesn't break. He's going to break. Yeah, there we go. I figured he was going to break. They haven't started pushing this flank yet. Let's go ahead and move B skirmishers down here. Hampton, what are you doing? Run. Get out of there. Get to the woods. Maybe I should move Beauregard up. He's actually taken... Oh, wow. Beauregard's taken almost 30% losses already. Granted, most of his force hasn't arrived yet. That's just 30% of the forces that are up here, and most of those are probably from Hampton's Legion. Just get into the woods, Hampton. These guns are starting to run out of ammo. It might be time to retreat them. Start moving them down, because they were really pushing this side fairly hard. So he is in cover of the woods now. Let's get him a little more into cover. How we doing over here? Do have some guns coming down. Maybe Siegfried can surprise them. Get a volley off. Maybe take out that gun unit. That'd be nice. Siegfried maybe take out the rest. Let's use the skirmishers. Maybe take out the rest of them. Alright, they might be able to take out this gun battery. The gun battery is taking up position rather than retreating, so we might be able to take him out. That'd be nice later in the battle if we can do that. They are starting to move back. That's unfortunate. Alright, how are we doing over here? They are almost completely out of ammo. Impotent is out of ammo, so let's go ahead and move these guys back to the farmhouse down here where the supplies are holding. Come up so we can get some shots in. I wonder if it's possible. Maybe I can move my skirmishers up. That's probably not a good idea. Fairly confident there's more forces on that side. So we're doing a fairly good job holding this hill. Okay, he's out of ammo as well, so let's go ahead and move him back as well. Typically they launch a straight on assault, but they really just focused on this one flank this time. Fairly interesting, and I believe that's what's sort of helped us hold this hill for so long. Okay, now we're withdrawing. At least we have the order to. We must retreat and reorganize our forces. Henry Hill is a good place to form our defensive line. General Jackson is moving up with fresh troops to help us. Stop the enemy offensive. Do not lose this hill or our flank will collapse and we'll be forced to withdraw to Richmond. Alright, so let's go ahead. We have some time. I don't want us to full out retreat just yet. Let's get our guns in position first. We position these two guns up here. Move our supplies back. Like I said, we're holding pretty strong here. Probably after this charge I'll start moving B back. We might even just break outright anyway. Go ahead, let him get off one more volley and then retreat. Because they are starting to really push this position. Go ahead and get Kemper. Let's run these guys. I want to do an organized retreat. I don't want to just, like I said, run outright. B did break. That's unfortunate. Let Bartow get off a volley and then get him out of there. Run Bartow. Let Hampton get off. Run you as well. Let's get these guys back. Use Siegfried up just to defend those guns for now. Alright, we're gonna use these Virginia units sort of like they did in real life, which was right near this grove of trees to defend this hill. Guns forward, rock and barrel. Alright, Kemper. One more volley and then get out of there. Alright, move Cabell back. This position. Take out that cavalry unit, please. Get out of there. Move Hampton up to the Robinson Lane. B and Bartow, let's go ahead and get across the river. Go like Beauregard. Alright, skirmishers, go ahead and retreat as well. Alright. And let's start getting these guys back as well. Let's run these guys. He got off his volley, so let's run you as well. Got to move the supplies, and we'll get banded across as well. Fairly organized retreat, a little bit hasty there towards the end. I want Bartow and B to take up positions in this grove of trees. Hampton not doing too well. Go ahead and reattach your skirmishers. Run you as well. Put supplies back here. Siegfried, let's go ahead and reattach his skirmishers. Mount up in these woods. Hampton, let's just go ahead and retreat you. I think that's what I wanted him to do anyway. Get these guys into a more organized line. these guys into the wood line. I didn't even notice that Kemper got wounded. Or did I? I don't remember now if I mentioned that. Again, this is just going to be a delaying action. Oh, they took out those skirmishers. That is basically the name of the game right now. It's just delay, delay, delay. Until the rest of our reinforcements can arrive. In which case we're going to push. Just notice we have a bit of a gap here. So it's against my better judgment because I don't really want Siegfried to take too many casualties. He is my elite unit, so to speak. You know, we're pretty early game, so it's not going to be that bad. Let's go ahead and move him up. We don't need to run him. Actually, we do need to run him. Keys is moving across. Would have been nice to get Keys while he was in the river. Turn around, B. Let Bartow take care of Howard. So Ricketts' gun battery has moved up, which is fairly realistic to what happened. Ricketts' battery actually moved up to Henry Hill. The game is a little off. I believe this is actually supposed to represent the Robinson House and Robinson Lane, whereas this should actually be the location of Henry House, even though they have the little banner for holding Henry Hill right here. But I feel like this is actually the more accurate location for the Henry House. And like I said, Ricketts actually mounted up his artillery near the Henry House, and that essentially was the location of the most heavy fighting, because they basically, Confederate and Union pretty much just fought over those guns left up, and just it was a back and forth battle for those guns. In fact, the first civilian casualty of the war happened at Henry House. The Miss Henry, the owner of the house, was actually bedridden at the time, I believe, and she was actually shot through both legs with a cannonball because Ricketts opened up on the Henry House with his cannon, believing that there was Confederate sharpshooters in the house, and yes, Miss Henry was unfortunately lost both her legs, as I believe how the story goes, and she would die of her wounds, and she became the first civilian casualty. Her daughter and a slave actually took up hiding in the chimney of the Henry House during the battle, and her daughter would actually go deaf. I'm not sure why the Norton thing came up. Last time that happened, I actually lost my file, so I'm going to see if that just goes away. Because if I hit the... Hey, we're going to pause the game, because I'm fairly certain if I hit this X, it's going to stop the playthrough. So hold on. And it did. It did actually stop the playthrough. So if there was a little bit of a jump there, I apologize. But that's what actually happened the first time, and I didn't realize I was recording the entire time, so it was a bit awkward. This is actually the second time I've gone through and did this, but this is actually the way I always play. It's a little bit different than the first time I played through, though. Like I said, they don't usually mount up on that side of Matthews Hill and just do nothing but attack that flank, so that was a bit unique. Let Bartow get off that last volley and then retreat him. Him and B can take up positions, and I'll let Siegfried go back to being the rear guard over here. His condition is pretty messed up, so I don't know if he's going to move through too quickly across the field, so he's probably going to take some fairly substantial casualties. We should be getting our reinforcements here soon. Our artillery is doing a pretty good job against Ricketts' artillery. He's actually forced them back. The AI does a pretty good job, whether it's on purpose or not, of sort of recreating what the Union actually did during the Battle 21st Manassas, which is after they took Matthews Hill, the assault slowed down dramatically, and they only sort of piecemeal came into the battle after that for Henry House Hill. Only simply because they were reorganizing. They thought the battle had actually already been won. They didn't realize the Confederacy had actually rallied themselves and was actually sending many reinforcements into the battle. So they believed they had practically won the battle. So when they actually realized their mistake, it was already too late. The Confederacy had already taken the field. By the time they actually started to mount an actual assault, one of their units actually completely broke, which actually caused the entire Union army to go into a panic. And that's where they sort of, you hear these stories about the Union army just running back to Washington. But so, like I said, this is actually fairly accurate to what happened. So we're gonna go ahead and fast forward this as we wait for our reinforcements to arrive. See, now they're moving up Griffin's battery, now Ricketts's battery, and now they've decided against that now. So yeah, it's pretty much just an artillery battle at this point, because the AI does not seem at all interested in attacking the hill at the moment. So how are you guys doing? Hopefully good. And this is actually one of the things I have against playing on medium difficulty. Why I actually like playing at harder difficulties, because the AI is smarter and it's just more intelligent, and it's a little more difficult. You see a lot of this playing on the more medium difficulties. Now it does change a little bit later in the game. It does get much more difficult later in the battle, but I mean in the war as the game goes on. Even on the medium difficulty, but early game medium difficulty is almost laughable, especially if you're playing the Union. I can usually just table the Confederacy at Bull Run and just defeat their entire army down to every individual unit. It's pretty bad, even on medium difficulty, just how easy it is early game. Especially for the Confederacy, it doesn't start getting difficult to Antietam. I think it's most difficult battle early on for the Confederacy. And even then, it's not too bad, depending on how you build your army. At the Confederacy, I wouldn't build my army too cavalry heavy, let me just put it that way. General, the Union is severely weakened, and now we can counterattack with our fresh reinforcements that will arrive shortly. Concentrate the attack on their right flank and drive them back to Washington. Alright, so let's go ahead. We're going to move Smith up. Actually, and basically we're just going to go like this. And just move these guys across the field, like so. As they get closer, we'll actually start to reorganize them a little better. Now the Union is beginning to push a little bit. Fairly positive I got enough troops to hold my right flank here. Actually, looking at it, I just realized I'm sort of set up the same way the Union set up at Gettysburg. Sort of in a fishhook pattern. I tried to play things a little more historically accurate this time around. I typically actually try and hold this hill as long as possible with my forces, but I did decide to retreat them just for the historical accuracy of it this time around. Because like I said, you can pretty much table both the Union and the Confederacy in this battle, honestly, even on the harder difficulty. It's first battle Manassas is not a very difficult battle to win. I mean, I probably could have left even my troops up there. I don't know, B was starting to break, so I'm going to go ahead and break off some skirmishers and attack that cavalry unit while Smith moves up. Have him set up on Franklin's flank. Let's go ahead and start moving up these Virginia units now. Well, they forced off that cavalry, so let's go ahead and have them reattach. And Franklin just got hit on all sides. Alright, so things are starting to get a little more interesting now that the Union is actually attacking us. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to break Ewell off. He's going to come help this side. So just keep him out of the woods. Come out ahead and hit that flank. Holmes is going to come up this direction. Bonham, let's have him flank this way. So awkward. And then Cock will come up this way. And support this way. And start wheeling these Virginia units. Oh, Hampton broke. That's unfortunate. These guys fire shot right into these guys. Come on, Pelham. Start moving up. Pretty much going to use the AI, or not the AI units, but the units that they gave me to sort of push the Union. That way I'm not actually using these guys, and that way any casualties I take is actually practically just going to give me units, or weapons, with the rescued weapons. So I'm not afraid of taking some casualties, especially the guns, because why not? Well, let's get some artillery. I want to reserve Stuart's cavalry for now, though. I don't want him to take too many casualties, because he'll be great at chasing down some of these artillery units, which actually, let's go ahead. Pelham is dead. Looks like we lost Imboden's guns. Alright. Start shifting these Virginia units. Have Bonham take up position on this side, on this little peninsula. I'm not exactly sure where this stream comes from. I've been to the Manassas battlefield, and unless I'm mistaken and just never noticed it, the stream does not exist. Now, these maps do tend to share, so they do, as in, like, not all the side missions actually use maps that are actually from, the grand battles. So it's just like the grand battles broken up, essentially. And that's how they generate the maps for these battles, for the side missions. So I feel like that stream was only put there to support a side battle, more than likely. And I've been able to quite figure it out. Because I do not believe, I've looked at even the tactical maps of the battle, and I just don't know where that stream came from. Like I said, I've been to the Manassas battlefield before, and I've never, as far as I know, there's no stream. I could be wrong, but because this is Bull Run Creek, and as far as I know, there's no stream there. So I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to represent. But I could also, like I said, be wrong. Let's just start pushing. One thing I wouldn't mind is moving up to Bell. That way he can keep firing. Oh, Imboden did survive. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not too interested in losing troops right now. I feel like they all did a pretty good job. Probably got enough experience, so I'm gonna sort of keep it that way and not lose too many more men. But I do want to cause as many casualties to my own forces as well as the Union forces as I can. Try and get as many weapons at the end of the battle as I possibly can. So like I said, we're gonna just sort of push them off these hills now. I don't even think that's the end of my reinforcements. I do believe I actually get another band of reinforcements. I could be wrong. I actually have a fairly significant amount of troops here. Whereas this side of the battlefield, it's pretty much just broken. We've pretty much broken the Union here. Did I lose Stuart? Oh no, Stuart's still here. Let's have Stuart go after those scouts. Hampton, let's go ahead and have him fire on him. Hampton's been almost completely destroyed based on his starting strength. Scouts are coming in. I can flank around. If nothing else, they can launch some attacks into the rear of the 2nd Ohio there. Alright, move these guys forward. Cause as much mayhem and destruction as possible. Let's move Johnson up, I'm not sure why. Let's move all my generals up, I'm not sure why we going up without leaderless, but and then these 3 units. We'll just put them here. Just in case, for some weird reason, maybe one of the Union cavalry units sneaks in. I don't know. Smith. Bonham is sort of right out there on his own. Oh, well, sorry Bonham, you're on your own. Alright, we'll move Cock across, try and get in their rear. Yeah, Stuart. I think keep pushing against those guns. I don't know. Wrong unit. Alright, now that we're starting to get up on their rear, we might be able to trap them. Sherman's retreating, let's go ahead and get across the river. Get across the river. Get some shots in on that scout unit. Move up all of them down. Well, maybe not him. Let's move you forward. Like I said, at this point we're just sort of pushing the Union back. Like I said, the Union's completely broken. Not too worried about losing this battle at this point. Actually, they're pretty well entrenched there. Oh, they're sort of just gonna die in the river, actually. I'm not really sure what the AI is doing though. Let's see if Stuart can't get these supplies. B, we'll just sort of move forward. Second Virginia down. Like I said, we've almost completely entrap them. Move up some of these supplies. Just realized some of these guys probably don't have much ammo left. Come on, get a volley off. Oh, their morale is totally shattered. Where those supplies go? Let's force these guys across the field. Run them all. Why not? How is that cavalry unit still up? Alright, try and find those supplies. I don't know where they went to. Swing him wide, Sherman's starting to come up. Plan for heal. Pretty sure we've eliminated everybody to the north here. Stuart should be able to get those supplies. Maybe. Knock his gun so he doesn't actually accidentally kill some of those supplies. And we should be close enough to charge. Let's get those supplies. And we'll just go ahead and launch him into them. Just keep pushing, guys. Total defeat of the Union Army, I would say. Oh, we do have some more scouts up there. They're probably coming back for their supplies. Continue to break more units. See if we can't get these supplies up this way. Total out. Now we're just pushing them back south towards the rest of my army. Maybe I will. How broken they are. Let's go ahead and fast forward this. We'll probably keep playing it. See how much more damage we can do. Alright, maybe enough's enough. Let's finish this. Alright, so that was the first Battle of Bull Run. See, they had 1,700 men to start, or 17,000 men to start with. We killed 11,000. Significantly a little different than the casualties at the actual first battle. We only took about 4,000 casualties out of our 1,500. Best unit was Smith. Kemper was the best unit of my actual army. Got some promotions, but nobody in my army. Kemper was wounded. Oh, Manson did promote to lieutenant colonel. And now let's look at the goods. Actually not as many goods as I thought we would actually get from this. A lot of rescued stuff. But not so much, I mean, we did get a lot of the 1842s that'll help build up an army for Shiloh. But yeah, not so much. I mean, it's a good amount of supplies. But really, all not that too many goods. Like I said, you start getting a lot of goods later in the war, once the battles really start getting big. But okay, let's go ahead and move on. Now, at the end of every grand battle, you actually get 2. We got the War Service Medal. You actually get 2 career points. Some even give you 3, but most I would say give you 2. We did get Thomas Jackson. Now there's 2 generals, one on each side that I've noticed. I don't know if it's built into the game. I don't know. I don't know if it's the developers being cheeky, but I feel like Thomas Jackson and William Sherman on the Union always seem to either die or get injured. Like, you take them into a battle and they get injured. Or they die almost immediately. Almost every single battle you take them into. Even if it's just a side battle. I'm not sure what that's about. We did get +1 to our army organization just for playing that particular battle. I think that's the only time we actually get a set army organization. I think it's just to help you out when you go to the Battle of Shiloh. Maybe people maybe not recognizing that they need more army organization. 93 prisoners exchanged for 93 additional recruits, so we got a little bit more recruits. We had 11,000 recruits, which is practically the number of people we killed from the Union last match. That's actually fairly interesting. Alright, so that was the Battle of Manassas. I'm not going to go ahead and fill out my army just yet. I'll do that next episode. As you can see, we have 2 more side missions. We have the Ambush Convoy, which is a bit of a cheeky mission. You can actually cheese this mission and have it done in about 5 minutes. I kid you not. You'll see in the next episode, because this will be the next one we do, just how easy it is actually to beat this mission. And then, of course, you have Stay Alert as well, which is you're defending a supply depot. So this is stealing supplies, this is defending supplies. And then, of course, we have the Battle of Shiloh itself. I wish there were more interesting side missions as you lead up to this Battle of Shiloh. I guess even as the Union, there's really no interesting side missions. You would think some of the... there's actually some pretty significant battles that are fought leading up to Shiloh that they just aren't represented in the game, which is a bit of a disappointment, but it's not too bad. And as you can see, if we were to win both side missions, I don't know, did I talk about this? I can't remember if I did talk about this at the beginning of the episode, where you get sort of like buffs if you complete the side missions. So this one's a supply, like enemies will receive better weapons if you don't do the side mission, if you don't take the convoy, and then you actually get a buff where the enemy's army strength won't be as strong if you do the supply raid mission, or the defend supply mission. Anyway, enough of me rambling. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. And yeah, please stay tuned for the next one. I really appreciate it. Bye, everyone.